Wow. Okay, I cannot believe that this has actually gotten to Game 5 myself, and I think a lot of people expected Savior to just tear the heck out of Mind and just finish him off quickly and be moving on. But here we are in Game 5. This is a best of 5 series, and Game 5 here, Mind taking the first match on this map. I think it's appropriate that the last match is on this map, Blue Storm, because of the fact that that was basically the closest match of this whole series. Was on that match. That's where we saw the best play out of both of them, I think. And, well, maybe not the best play, but the evenest play, maybe. Basically, it was the best game, in my opinion. It was the most exciting, it was the most interesting. And so hopefully we'll see a really cool, epic Game 5 here with Savior eventually eking out the win. Part of the reason, I mean, I wouldn't mind, honestly, if it was a kind of a different situation in the whole MSL. I wouldn't mind beating Savior. I prefer Savior, honestly, but you know, if there's a new creative Terran around, that's cool. But the reason I want Savior to win is because Bisu, I mean, is in the other semifinals on the other side of the bracket, and he's going to be facing Zelos, who's been playing pretty well lately. But honestly, I don't think has much of a chance against Bisu. Although if Mind has this much of a chance against Savior, who knows? By the way, we see Savior sending out a drone to scout again, and yeah, he's going that drone along the top of that ridge. Very smartly, because a lot of times you see proxies on that ridge right there on this map, planting down a hatchery. Anyways, what was I saying? Oh yeah, so Bisu is on the other side of the matchup. He's probably going to beat Zelos, which would make, if Savior won this match, that would make it a rematch, basically, between Savior and Bisu. Savior basically being pretty dominant in the Star Leagues, until one day he meets up with Savior in meets up with Bisu in the final, and Bisu completely owns him, and it's been haunting Savior ever since then. Yeah, I mean, Savior just able to beat Protoss players pretty well in general, except for Bisu somehow just, you know, his bane, basically. And so Savior has got to want to get back for that. I mean, seriously, he's got to, you know, want to prove himself again. I mean, after Bisu slaughtered him, he went into kind of a slump, and he just wasn't playing that well at all. And it's taken him this long, I think, to kind of get his confidence back. That was probably a big part of it, was his confidence. And now I wouldn't say he's back in his finest form, but he's definitely back in form now. And so he kind of wants a chance to prove himself again, prove himself by going up against Bisu again. And so yeah. So anyways, that match, if that happens, between Savior and Bisu in the finals, that will be absolutely crazy and epic and crazy and awesome. Just having those two, because so much will be on the line for both of them in that case. Bisu, the defending champion, and Savior, a former champion. Anyway, so we see Mind kind of doing what we've seen him do most of the matches thus far, and we've seen him do this in the two matches that he won. Setting up an expansion very quickly and putting up a little blockade so the expansion will actually hold up. Actually, no, he's canceled that bunker there. I'm not sure why he did that. It's kind of interesting. Maybe he scouted Savior's base and realized that he wasn't getting many lings or something like that. Yeah, because we only see a few lings around. In that first game, Savior did get a bunch of lings and kind of try to take Mind by surprise, but he was able to deal with it pretty well because of the bunker that he had, actually. I think he had a bunker. Yeah, I think he did. But yeah, so this is going to be exciting. Mind getting a second barracks, getting his academy up, so both the players not really pumping things out right now. Both players just kind of going for a long-term sort of thing. We see Savior getting down a colony. The colony is in a really good position, by the way. I like that spot, because there's that, as you can see, that little hole where his ling is, that little gap. That'll keep anything from getting through there. It'll basically hit something as soon as it enters into that gap. So, wow, okay, we actually see Savior getting a den up, and Mind is going to scout that den out. So that's interesting that we saw Savior do the same thing on this map the first game, skipping the Spire at first and going straight for Lurkers instead. And in that game, his Lurkers barely came in time to hold off Mind's forces. Actually, Savior had a second expansion in the 12 o'clock position at that point, I think. And when he got those, he got them a little bit later, I think, than he is this game. So his Lurkers barely came in time. It looks like Stimpaks have finished upgrading for Mind. So Mind actually moving out pretty quickly, and this is Savior's going to have to put something else down, honestly. He's got some lings there, and those are going to help him out, but I really think for his sake he needs another colony at this point. Although he doesn't have medics, so that's going to be the big... Okay, never mind. He doesn't have medics with that group. Oh, wait, are those medics catching up? He does have medics catching up there. So, without those medics, though, that would have been a little bit fatal for Mind. He does have medics with him, but it looks like he was just putting some pressure on Savior. And doing a good job of it, actually. Those forces kind of meeting in the middle there. Savior running his lings away. Looks like he's already speed upgraded those lings, so that's going to be good for him. Mind, though, has been very smart and keeping things in his gap so that Savior cannot just sneak around. Keeping fire bats on his ramp in one game, for instance, and in this game making sure he had a couple fire bats. Although now he's brought his fire bats out, so okay, he does have some Marines though at his door. So again, smart move on his part. Sometimes you see the Terrans will just move all their forces out and leave their door completely unguarded, and that will be that. Mind putting an SCV on that little ridge nearby Savior's base for some reason. I'm curious what he's going to do down there, although Savior has scattered that out. He has an Overlord over there. Savior having a Spire in. This would be a perfect opportunity, honestly, for Mind to attack, but he is falling back. You can see on the minimap he's pulling his forces back. Well, I guess it wouldn't have been necessarily a perfect opportunity, but basically from now on out it's going to be a lot harder for him to attack, because in a few seconds Savior's going to have a lot of Mutalisks coming out, and that will be the end of any chance he had of going in and just picking off those colonies. And Savior actually has Lurkers out too, getting a Queen's Nest as well. So wow, Savior going for a lot of different tech at the same time here, and very quickly. Mind, in the meantime, is getting a couple more barracks up. He's building up his forces. This looks like just kind of an expeditionary force he's got out here, that he's just moving around in the middle of the map, and that's really a smart move on his part, I think. Keeping the pressure on Savior by having those forces just sitting around and trying to pick off lings and what have you. Well, that's not his entire force, though. He's probably building up more Marines in his door. So that's kind of a cool move on his part, kind of having a little force going around and kind of scouting things out. That's something that he hasn't been, he's been letting Savior off a lot, I think, letting him just do his own thing a lot of the time, except for that first game. He put a lot of pressure on Savior, and that's how, excuse me, that's how he was able to really drill it into him over the course of time. Savior getting out some forces now. He's getting a hive already. Wow. So I'm sure that Mind has Comsat right now. I'm not sure if he's Comsated Savior's base recently, but he's basically going for really quick hive. And wow, okay, so Mind actually going for quick science vessels as well. I think I saw that starport going up earlier, but for some reason it just didn't sink in. So Mind is going to have science vessels coming out very quickly, and both players going for a lot of tech, and we could have a meeting here in the middle there. Mind does have a sizable force of medics and marines, although if he spreads them out like that, that's going to be his doom. Savior, I'm not sure if he sees those there, but looks like he's going straight for Mind's base, though. Some Scourges out, interestingly. Already in anticipation for science vessels, and basically we're gonna have to see if Savior can micro his Scourges a little bit better. In that first game he didn't produce enough Scourges, although he didn't have the opportunity a lot of the time, and I don't think he killed a single science vessel with his Scourges in that first game, and that was basically his undoing. He may have killed a couple now that I think about it, but yeah, in general